Hi there, Chantal here from Grounded Mind. How are you doing today? Um, today I wanted to kind of touch up upon the work that I've been looking into on the therapeutic side. Um, and one of the fascinating things that I don't think many people think about is how much our emotions can form the path that we go down in life in terms of what comes out of us. So I'm going to say this in like simple terms because um, it would just make more sense. Our emotions and the way how we feel in certain scenarios really does have an impact on our physical health. The way that we process our emotions, the way that we deal with them, and the way that we see them. And a lot of the times we don't really take note of our emotions. We just feel it, and it's just kind of one of those things. We feel sad, or we feel happy, or we feel angry, but we don't actually process the emotion. I don't think if I was to pluck a figure out of thin air, I'd say that potentially 70 to 80% of the British population doesn't deal with their emotions in a way that is healthy for them. That's a guesstimation, by the way, because I know before I knew about Mind Body that I had an emotion. I knew it was good to cry, didn't know the depth of what that meant, but I just felt angry. And if I felt angry, I did. And if I felt happy, I did. And then I'd just kind of go with that flow and go through life. And I think, genuinely speaking, that is what the public do. They just kind of go with whatever they're feeling in that day, or they'll try to make themselves happy, or they'll try to make themselves feel better. Another thing is, what is happiness? Because if someone is happy all of the time, is that real? Or is there an effort to get to that happiness? Because I don't think the natural state of a human being is just to be happy. I say that, and I said this yesterday, um, that I think the natural state of a human being should be to be in the moment, because when you're in and out of the moment, that's when the depression can kick in, or the anxiety, or you'll become an anxious person because you're continuously thinking about the future and what can be, and you make these stories up in your head. And then they call it storytelling, but it's negative storytelling usually with anxiety. Or you're thinking about what you had, what you was, who you used to be, who you used to be with, the job you used to have, the house you used to live in. And then that stirs up an emotion of sadness, which causes depression. And so the state of being in the moment and taking in the sounds, the feelings of the moment kind of takes away those two scenarios. And so that state there, I believe, is a good state for a person to be in. Um, and without those emotions, what in that moment do you feel? Um, and so, yeah, emotions are one of those things that I think we can actually, to some extent, control, especially when you put yourself in the moment. There's a verse that says, because you all know that I'm a Christian, don't worry about today or tomorrow, because they've got troubles of their own, which basically means worry about today. And that's where I try to bring everything back to. And I think it's important that people bring things back to the now, especially when we have emotions and we are kind of, emotive driven human beings naturally. How can we actually make an effort to put ourselves in the now? And it's the same thing when it comes to healing. When we talk about, anxiety, fear, frustration, the kinds of people that we usually are, people pleasers, perfectionists, potentially have OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, always want things to be right, always doing something, and then we don't have time at all when we that type of person to be present. Which, when you think about mind body healing, it's a simple practice. Breathe and create safety. The safety that we create is by telling our brain that we are safe, by calming down. I can't say calming down without saying calming down, because it is a deep breath in, it is holding, and it's releasing, putting yourself in that moment, and that automatically says to your brain that you are safe, and it slows your nervous system right back down again. And so emotions are one of those things that I know people find it very difficult to deal with, and um, and also difficult to understand how to allow your emotion to be there without judging it, without overthinking it. Well, not overthinking, that's the wrong word. Without looking at the thoughts around that emotion and ruminating on that. Um, Emotion work, it's important for you to be able to do the emotion work, because once you can actually get to a point where you are dealing with what that physical feeling, sensation of the emotion feels like, not everything else that comes with it, just the emotion. Once you can tackle that and conquer that, you know, you're halfway there. So I wanted to share this today because it was laid on my heart yesterday, when I was doing my studies, and I thought, a lot of people are going to probably be struggling with their emotions and not know what to do with them. But again, this is the kind of work that I do. If you ever want to talk about this, you know where I am. Have a good day. Like and share my video if it's helped you, and subscribe to my page. Bye.